making this video for you today to share with you my 5 strategies for managing behaviour in the dance class. Behaviour management is a real passion of mine. Before I started up my dance business, I was working as a primary school teacher in challenging schools, and managing the behaviour was at times quite a struggle, and I very quickly had to learn lots of strategies and techniques to deal with this behaviour so that I could get on and do my job, which was to teach. And I recognise that this is an area that you don't maybe learn at dance college or on your dance teacher training courses. So it's something that I want to share with you because it can actually make your dance classes a much more happy, productive place. So here we go, number 1. You need to plan effectively. So you want to make a lesson plan. You want to make your lessons engaging by planning a varied activities, varied program of activities. You need to make sure you differentiate for every learner in your class. So make sure that the beginners are supported and the more advanced dancers are challenged within your class if you've got a mixture of abilities, or make sure that your dancers are in the correct class for their ability as well. Make sure you're catering for a variety of learning styles, so make sure you're teaching visually as well as demonstrating, and verbally. Cater for all those different learning styles. Any special needs, make sure you're providing for them. What are their needs and are you meeting them? Are there really talented children in the class? How are their needs being met? Because if these needs aren't met, this could result in behaviour issues in your class. The more advanced dancers might be getting bored, and that will result in behaviour, or the dancers that need a bit of support and aren't getting it, that might result in behaviour because they can't access the learning the same as the other children can. Okay, so really plan effective, engaging lessons, keep up the pace, and that will go a long way towards preventing behaviour in the first place. Number 2, have systems in place to prevent behaviour. Orderly systems, because orderly behaviour is not natural and has to be learned. Things like lining up and sitting in a particular space and various different things, that kind of orderly behaviour actually has to be learned. So you need to teach it and you need to train your dancers. There's a behaviourist theory called classical conditioning. You might have heard of Pavlov's dog, where Pavlov used a neutral stimulus to train his dogs to salivate when they heard a bell. Well, we're not teaching anyone to salivate here, but we can train our dancers to respond to neutral stimuli. So maybe you have a bell or a tambourine in your class that you can use so that every time the dancers hear that particular sound, they'll stop and listen and look. Or maybe you have a hand signal. The only thing with the hand signal is that perhaps the dancers have got their back to you, won't see it straight away, although they may see that the other dancers in the room are responding. A really nice way to help younger children with their rhythmical awareness is to do some clapping and clicking rhythms and get them to join in with you, and that's quite a good way of refocusing them. Basically, these strategies are here to help you so that you never have to strain your voice. As dance teachers, we want to protect our voices, don't we? We don't want to be shouting above the music. If you need to speak, please stop the music first and speak. Speak to your dancers calmly in a normal voice, and they will speak back to you in a calm, normal voice without ever having to shout. And the same with these refocusing strategies. You don't have to shout to regain the attention of a noisy class that's become off task. There are actually lots of non-verbal cueing strategies that you can use. Those are a few of those. Establishing routines that become rituals in your class. Maybe they always have to line up at the door before they come in, or maybe you always dismiss them in sequence so there's not a mad rush for the door at the end of the day, at the end of the class. So have those sorts of routines in place. Plan in rest breaks, give them rests regularly, and actually plan for those. Any rules that you set, make sure they're positive. Do not become can you, make it a positive, make it a challenge, make it an expectation. Refer to these regularly, and always agree them with your dancers, because then it becomes a contract between yourself and the dancer. And where there's rules, there should also be consequences in case the rules are not met. So one of the theories behind behaviour management is operant conditioning, which led on from the classical conditioning of Pavlov's dog. And the idea behind it is that behaviour that is praised will continue, and behaviour that is punished will stop. And so basically, always praise good behaviour. That's the idea behind that, but have consequences in place in case the good behaviour is not being seen. Always make sure you give a warning before you give a sanction to any dancer. Make sure they know. This way they can take ownership for their own behaviour, and this way they're making a choice to misbehave or not. So give them ownership. And this particularly works with the teenagers. Maybe you could write out a contract that they all sign, and then that's your contract with behaviour, and refer to it regularly. Put it up on the wall so they can see it, so you can refer to it visually as well. So constant reminders of those rules, and that will help you. Always foster a positive environment, so always praise equally, always be fair. If a child's been naughty one day, treat it as a fresh start the next day. Don't label them the naughty child, just think of it as a behaviour that happened that day. It might not happen the next day. Maybe proximity praise. If you see a dancer misbehaving, actually praise the dancer next to them who's on task and doing what you want them to do, and very quickly you'll see the behaviour next to them starting to stop. Always model good behaviour. Children learn socially, and one of the theories behind social learning is that if you model the correct behaviour, the dancers will observe that behaviour and then they'll start to imitate that behaviour. So that's really a good strategy. Obviously, always make sure you're being a good role model, always arrive on time, always model the language and appropriate behaviour that you would expect, but also praise that sort of behaviour from the other dancers that you see, and those dancers will catch on as well. And obviously, you're doing something you absolutely love, so just smile and enjoy it, because that will have a positive effect on your dancers, and they're going to love what you're teaching them as well. So those are my 5 strategies to manage behaviour. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you have any different strategies for managing behaviour. I'd love to hear what you do in your dance class. Drop me an email at keris@danceworks.co.uk. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.